Thank you, Harley and Jen. That was beautiful. Hello and welcome to our service. We are the Rogue Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, or RUF, in Ashland, Oregon. My name is Merrick Milligan, and I'm a part of RUF because of the welcoming community here. We are so happy to welcome you to our service, both online and in person. We want to especially thank the members of the stream team who are helping make the online service happen, and the members of the neighborhood team who welcome the on-site congregation. If you are a newcomer, we invite you to sign up for our mailing list on rvuuf.org. You will receive a weekly email that gives you all the information you need to make your decision about whether you'd like to join us on Sunday morning on site or online. You will also learn about other great things going on at RUF. We're so glad to have you with us for this service, and we invite you to join us in our mission, embracing diversity, empowering connection, and engaging in the work. A quick announcement from Donna.
Well, I don't know how quick I will be, but today is the kickoff for our fundraiser, a very special event where we all can offer and participate together in fun, educational, and entertaining events throughout the next few months. We can all get to know each other better, invite friends, neighbors, and family to participate with us, and raise funds for RUF operations. There is a colorful insert in your order of service today that describes the first step in how all this works. Please read the insert, of course, after the service, and get ready to start having some fun. Further information and forms to complete will come to you via email, so pay attention. They will also be in baskets next Sunday here, and a form will also be available on the website. The actual sign-ups for the events will be on March 23rd. So stay tuned and look for further information about Fun at RUF. We expect this to be a wonderful experience for everyone.
Thanks, Donna. I have another quick announcement about another upcoming event. Join us at the Fellowship Fair during coffee hour after the service on February 23rd to explore meaningful opportunities that match your interests and availability. Whether you're looking to share your talents, meet new friends, find an interest group, or contribute in small ways, you'll discover the perfect way to enrich both your experience and our vibrant community. From quick monthly tasks to more involved roles, there's a place for everyone to make a difference. Reach out to Nancy Roberts or Harley Eblin if you have any questions or would like more information. We hope to see you there. We begin each service by acknowledging that our building is built on land that began as the home of the Cow Creek Umpqua, Takelma, Shasta, and Lagawa people. We remind ourselves that Indigenous people are part of our communities and continue to experience the effects of colonization. We are committed to fighting for the worth and dignity of Indigenous people, both in our community and around the world. These services are a part of that work. Welcome, and thank you for being with us.
My name is Harley Eblin, and it is my pleasure to be a member here at RUF and to add my welcome to Merrick's. I'm so glad that you've made time to be here with us. We light our chalice, symbol of Unitarian Universalism, with words by the music producer, Rick Rubin. To live as an artist is a way of being in the world. Attuned choice by attuned choice, your entire life is a form of self-expression. You exist as a creative being in a creative universe, a singular work of art.
Good morning. Nice to see everybody this morning. Cold morning. So we're going to start off with a song in your gray hymnal, number 188, Come, Come, Whoever You Are. A lot of you already know this. We're going to do it in 2 parts. This part is 1, and this section is part 2. We're going to sing it all together as one group, and then I'm going to cue part 1 to start, and then I'll cue part 2 to start. I'll keep going like this, which means sing it until I stop. Okay, good. Here we go. Stand, please, rise in body or spirit. We're going to sing together. Here we go. Ready, and
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come.
part 1.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come.
Come, yet again come.
Hi, I'm Micah, and I'm a member of the anti-racism team here at Roof. I don't want to mess it up because they're so tall, so I'll get closer. I'll stand on my tiptoes. Each week, we light a candle, and this week, I encourage you to look at this time as a call to action. This past Monday was a day for celebrating the life and contributions of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. On that same day, the 47th President of the United States was inaugurated, a man who is trying to undo Dr. King's legacy and civil rights protections that date back to Lyndon B. Johnson's presidency. During 47's inauguration circus, the wealthiest man in the world stood on stage. He put his right hand to his heart and thrust it out at a 45-degree angle in what can only be called a Nazi salute. He did it not once, but twice. People in attendance cheered. The media downplayed it, refusing to call it what it was, a Nazi salute. Americans are normalizing his actions on social media. So today, as we light this candle, it is more than just a flame. It is a call for us to use our voices, our power, our money, and our privilege to stand up against hate when we see it. There can be no agreeing to disagree with people who support and spread hate or people who harm entire communities. As we light this candle in commitment to standing up for marginalized communities, I want to share a quote by one of the greatest leaders and heroes of my generation, Stacey Abrams. And she said, "We continue to confront racism from our past and our present, which is why we must hold everyone, from the highest offices to our own families, accountable for racist words and deeds, and call racism out for what it is, wrong." Thank you.
I feel like I need a break from that. It is our practice each time we gather to light a candle for peace. We take this moment to call to mind our commitment to peace of mind, peace in our homes, peace in our communities, and peace in the world. Today's words are from John Lennon. Peace is not something you wish for. It's something you make, something you do, something you are, and something you give away.
Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom.
Now is the time in our service where I get to share with you a story. And if you would like to come closer to see the pictures, I encourage you. It is a story about making art, so they are relevant. Hi. All right. This story is called The Dot by Peter H. Reynolds. Art class was over, but Vashti sat glued to her chair. Her paper was empty. Vashti's teacher leaned over the blank paper. "Ah, a polar bear in a snowstorm," she said. "Very funny," said Vashti. "I just can't draw." Her teacher smiled. "Just make a mark and see where it takes you." Vashti grabbed a marker and gave the paper a good, strong jab. There. You see her? Her teacher picked up the paper and studied it carefully. She pushed the paper toward Vashti and quietly said, "Now sign it." Vashti thought for a moment. Well, maybe I can't draw, but I can sign my name. See her piece there? The next week when Vashti walked into the art class, she was surprised to see what was hanging above the teacher's desk. It was the little dot she had drawn. Her dot. All framed in swirly gold. I can make a better dot than that. She opened her never-before-used set of watercolors and set to work. Vashti painted and painted. A red dot, a purple dot, a yellow dot, a blue dot. The blue dot mixed with the yellow. She discovered that she could make a green dot. Vashti kept experimenting. Lots of little dots in many, many colors. If I can make little dots, I can make big dots too. Vashti splashed her colors with a bigger brush on bigger paper to make bigger dots. Vashti even made a dot by not painting a dot. You see her painting around it and leaving the dot blank? At the school art show a few weeks later, Vashti's many dots made quite a splash. Vashti noticed a little boy gazing up at her. "You're a really great artist. I wish I could draw like you," he said. "I bet you can," said Vashti. "Me? No, not me. I can't draw a straight line with a ruler." Vashti smiled. She handed the boy a blank sheet of paper. "Prove it." The boy's pencil shook as he drew his line. Vashti stared at the boy's squiggle and then said, "Please, sign it." And that's our story.
Today's reading is an excerpt from The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. Too far, too fast, and we can undo ourselves. Creative recovery is like marathon training. We want to log 10 slow miles for every 1 fast mile. This can go against the ego's grain. We want to be great, immediately great, but that is not how recovery works. It is an awkward, tentative, even embarrassing process. There will be many times when we won't look good to ourselves or anyone else. We need to stop demanding that we do. It is impossible to get better and look good at the same time. Remember that in order to recover as an artist, you must be willing to be a bad artist. Give yourself permission to be a beginner. By being willing to be a bad artist, you have a chance to be an artist, and perhaps, over time, a very good one.
So first, a couple things about this tune. Peach River is a traditional black song from the African American history in the United States. It's in code, and what it means, it talks about deep river, which is the difficulties in life, the ongoing grief and strife that this population was encountering in the United States. Campground is a reference to heaven. And so getting over that river, or getting through that river to get to heaven, is what this song is about. The reason I chose this song is because it is traditionally a solo that is sung by a bass. And today, we have Harley singing in the choir, way up there, as a bass. So I, couldn't resist picking this song for us to sing today. The other thing I wanted to tell you is sometimes you see the choir up here all in black or pastels or something else, but today our direction was to wear what speaks to you about you. Be who you are, dress like the way you want to dress in something that speaks to you about, this is me. So that's what they're wearing, and I hope you appreciate all of the individualness about it.
My home.
I get started with what I'll be sharing, I'd like to mention that Reverend Sean is normally the one up here. I am not normally the one up here. Reverend Sean is on study leave at the moment, and he will be back in a few weeks. I'm very excited to be talking with you folks today. When I was in kindergarten, I used to draw all the time. I would draw family, landscapes, made-up creatures, and anything that came to mind. I would allow these thoughts to flow directly from their source, directly to the page with seemingly no barrier between the two. I still have my favorite piece from that time. It's a chaotic ball of scribbles. When my teacher asked what I wanted written under my masterpiece, I said, "I never feel stupid." So that's what's written underneath that scribbled ball. It's hard to imagine myself having that kind of confidence today. I was able to do that as a little kid because I didn't yet have a concept of skill, talent, or the value of a finished product beyond the love of creation. There was no good or bad. There was a joyful frenzy of creativity, and then there was something left over, almost a byproduct of the act. How many of you have said something to the effect of, "I'm not creative," or "I don't have the talent," or "I'm not an artist"? I know I still am guilty of saying that sometimes. Our society has a knee-jerk reaction to art that moves us. Whether it's an actor on a stage, a musician in a band, or the writer behind our favorite novel, our response is usually to label that creator as talented. But I think that the word talent does harm. For the person being told they're talented, it can set up expectations of perfection. But even more insidiously, when we label someone as talented, we are implying that we ourselves are not. By this simple act, we're creating an in-group and an out-group, the talented and the untalented, us and them. It implies that by some supernatural force, some of us were bestowed with the ability to create, while others weren't. I think that this goes directly against our core value of honoring the inherent worth and dignity of every person. How can we honor someone else if we can't honor ourselves? So why do so many of us believe ourselves unworthy or incapable of being called artists, singers, musicians, creators, or whatever label you find just out of your reach? We all have some version of a voice in our head that tells us that what we're doing isn't good enough. I have one telling me right now that Reverend Sean would have written this message better than I'm able to. I have another that tells me every day that the music I'm recording will never live up to the work done by the people that I admire. But what I've learned over the years of creating things every day is that this voice is not one of reason or objective truth. Yes, it may have a good point that you have less experience than someone else in a particular pursuit, but it lies to you when it says that that is enough reason to never try your hand at doing the things that you want to do. I find this particularly troubling because in my experience, when that voice tells me that I'm incapable of something, it's often because that exact pursuit holds deep meaning for me, and I'm just afraid of failing. So we let that voice in our head protect us from embarrassment by telling us that we just don't have the talent. And that's the second way that this word talent does harm. It tells us that if we are not among the gifted few, there's no point in trying. The first time I picked up the cello, I didn't know how to play. I had to learn the mechanics the same as anyone else. I had to push through making ugly sounds to find the beautiful ones. So to summarize thus far, our inner critic is not a fair arbiter of the truth, and talent is a label that our inner critic uses to protect us from the pain of failure at something that we don't yet have practice in. To illustrate this, I want to share with you two stories of how I overcame that inner critic telling me that I wasn't good enough. The first thing it told me was that I couldn't sing. From first grade all the way through 8th, I was fortunate enough to attend a school where we sang songs in class every day. But from first grade all the way through 8th, I thought that I couldn't sing. My throat always felt constricted. I was constantly straining. I felt awkward, tired, and out of my depth. I spent those years telling myself that I just wasn't a singer, and that was a fact of life. Not being able to sing became a subtle part of the identity that I carried with me through my teens. Then I arrived at college to study music. In the first week of class, I was stopped in the hallway by a fellow student. She asked if I was a bass, and I replied that I wasn't much of a singer in the first place. She told me to come to an audition the following week anyway, because they were always looking for low voices. In my head, I knew that I couldn't sing, and the thought of a panel of judges telling me that was almost too much to bear. But I was just curious enough that I decided to go to the audition just to see what happened. They started me with a warm-up to test my range, and as the pitch got higher and higher, I felt the same constriction in my throat that I always had. My voice topped out earlier than the accompanist expected, and I saw them look down at the keys in surprise. But as we started moving back down the range, we kept going and going and going. Everyone's eyes widened in surprise as they realized what I hadn't known. I wasn't a tenor. I wasn't even a baritone. I was a bass. I got into the choir, and the next thing I knew, I was in a tuxedo surrounded by nearly 100 other singers, performing Beethoven's Ninth Symphony with the Santa Cruz Symphony Orchestra. Part of what had held me back all those years was the belief that in order to express myself, I first needed to have complete command over technique. Many of us hold on to this belief about expression, and so often it goes back to something we were told in childhood. Maybe it was a parent that made some comment about our voice. Maybe a teacher told us a drawing wasn't good enough. Maybe a friend teased us about the way we told a story. But when we share something that feels deeply personal or meaningful, and someone shoots it down, we tend to hold on to that criticism for far longer than it has any use to us. The criticism that I held on to for many years came when I was about 11 years old. My cello teacher handed me the Bach prelude, the prelude to the first Bach cello suite. I'm sure you all know the one. And I was completely enamored with the piece. We worked on it for months. I felt a deep connection to the music and a yearning to express something inside myself through it. Every time I played hard. I would put all the feelings I had into every note, working to bring out the emotion that I knew lived on that page. But my teacher had a different idea. After a while of working on this piece, I wasn't making the progress that she had hoped for. She took a step back and said something that would stay with me for a long time. She told me that I was too emotional in my playing, and that there was no place for that kind of feeling before my technique could support it. So I pulled out my pencil, and in my preteen scrawl, I wrote "no feeling" across the top of the page. This hurt me deeply. Looking around at the rest of her students, I realized that they were all progressing faster than I was. Her telling me that I wouldn't be able to express myself until I could master technique was the beginning of me losing hope that I would ever be able to express the feelings that I had inside of me. But trying to be a good student, I worked and worked to get the mechanics of the instrument into my fingers without feeling. And over the years, through all the music we worked on together, I tried to rein in my expression. But when I was alone and feeling pent up, anxious, or angry, I would lock myself in my room, turn out the lights, put on headphones, blast a song, and just play the cello as hard as I could. It was a frenzied, sweaty, emotional affair that never sounded very good, but it gave me the cathartic release that I was looking for. After years of this push and pull between expression and technique, I finally succumbed to the voice in my head telling me that I wasn't good enough. So I quit music entirely. I sold my cello, and I vowed never to play again. I didn't make music at all for about 2 years, but I didn't pick up a cello again for about 7. It wasn't until I decided I cared more about expressing myself through the instrument than being a master technician that I was able to pick up a cello again. Fast forward to today, and I'll paint you a picture of what my work looks like. My clients send me a song that they want cello recorded on. I close the door to my studio, I put on headphones, play their song, hit record, and I play the cello as hard as I can. It's a frenzied, sweaty, emotional affair, and yes, it's exactly what I found myself doing as a kid. This is who I am. This imperfect, emotional being who wants nothing more than to express the thing that I'm feeling. It has nothing to do with talent. It has everything to do with committing myself to the act of creation over the voices telling me that I'm not good enough. And because I've been able to commit to that uncomfortable process, I get to do the thing that feels most authentic to me every day with people that I look up to. But you may be asking yourself, why is any of this important? At the end of the day, does it matter if there's one more song, one more drawing, or one more poem in the world? And here's why I think that your voice matters. Creation is not a solitary act. Even when done alone, or when the work is never shared, the creative process connects us to one another. As we process joy, fear, or anger, that emotion that we've been exploring all month, expressing these feelings through creation helps us tap into our shared human experience. Your self-expression weaves another thread into this interconnected web of existence that binds us together. Our society is built on expression. From politics to poetry, from science to the sacred, we build our shared existence through these vulnerable moments of confronting our inner critics and making something beautiful. It can be as simple as a question you ask, creating space for dialogue where it didn't exist before. Or it can be as complex as composing a symphony. But these small acts of defiance against our inner critics telling us that we aren't good enough is what brings us together as humans. When confronted with the discomfort we feel when setting out to make something, it's easy to feel afraid and overwhelmed. We tend to focus on the difference between our desired outcome and our feared worst-case scenario. What if it's ugly? What if no one likes what I make? So one thing that I've done to combat this fear that I feel every day is put up that picture that I drew as a kid and several others that I painted. And by getting to look at my early attempts at creation every day, I'm constantly reminded of a simple truth that's all too easy to forget. The expressions of our creativity don't have to be perfect to be beautiful. The moment we're born, we begin singing. As we mature, we begin to imitate the sounds we hear and learn to form them into speech. We finger paint, we dance, play, and every moment of this is an act of creation. I believe that every one of us has something that we are yearning to express, some well of emotion, belief, or conviction inside of us that we want to see made manifest. So I'm going to ask something of you. Take a moment to think about the things that you've always felt drawn to. Maybe it's writing, playing an instrument, singing, or building community. And then think about one concrete action that you can take today. If you want to write, just write one line without judgment. If you want to sing, talk to Julie about joining the choir. If you want to relearn an old instrument, go pull it out of its case. That's all it has to be. And if you want to build community, think about ways that you can give back to this community that we're building right here. The act of creation is sacred. Don't let that voice in your head tell you that you are not worthy of participating. Thank you. And on the note of building community, each week we take an offering to support the mission and work of our congregation. It is your gifts that make the programs, services, outreach, and staffing of our congregation possible. Your gifts are immediately put to work, putting our principles into action in our community and beyond. If you're here in the Great Hall, you can put your gift in the offering basket when it comes by. If you're online, you will see instructions on the screen. You can also use your phone to scan the QR code on the back of your order of service. If you need support, please contact Reverend Sean using the form on rvuuf.org. We will do our best to help. For these gifts and all the gifts you bring to our community and into this world, thank you. For these gifts and all the gifts you bring to our community, thank you.
So our last tune this morning is an insert in your order of service. Not the colorful one, the other one. And the chorus and the verses all have exactly the same tune. The choir is going to help us out by turning around and facing you. Please, everybody, rise in body or spirit, and let's give this a shot. This song is fun. Some of you may have learned it when you were in camp, when you were kids. It's called A Place in the Choir, and it's about, the fact that everybody has a place. There are people that sing high, people that sing low, people that sing in the middle. So that's what it's about, and you'll get a kick out of it. So let's hit it from the top. All God's critters got a place in the choir. Some sing low, some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire, and some just clap their hands or pause or anything they got now. Listen to the bass, it's the one at the bottom where the bullfrog grows. The hippopotamus moans and groans with the big to-do, and the old cow just says moo. Dogs and cats, they take up the middle where the honeybee hums, and the crickets fiddle, the donkey brays, and the pony neighs, and the old coyote howls. All God's critters got a place in the choir. Some sing low, some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire, and some just clap their hands or pause or anything they got now. Listen to the top where the little birds sing, on the melody with their high notes ring. Hoot owl hollows over everything, the jaybird disagrees. Sing it in the nighttime, sing it in the day. The little duck quacks and is on his way. The possum ain't got much to say. The porcupine talks to himself. All God's critters got a place in the choir. Some sing low, some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire, and some just clap their hands or pause or anything they got now. It's a simple song, a living song everywhere. The ox and the fox and the grizzly bear, the grumpy alligator and the hawk above, the sly raccoon and the turtle dove. All God's critters got a place in the choir. Some sing low, some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire, and some just clap their hands or pause or anything they got now. All right.
Our closing words today are by the artist Andy Warhol. Don't think about making art. Just get it done. Let everyone else decide if it's good or bad, whether they love it or hate it. While they're deciding, make even more art.